Growing up exploring Alaska's ever-changing landscape inspires a lifetime of learning. That's why Alaska 529 is a proud sponsor of the Alaska Sealife Center and focused on helping families take small steps now for their child's future education. To learn about the Alaska 529 plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, carefully read the plan disclosure document available at alaska529plan.com. Alaska 529. Save in Alaska, study anywhere.
Everyone gather round, it's a time of day for virtual small fry school. We can hardly wait. Meet new ocean friends, connect with old pals too. Let's learn about the sea, there's so much to do. La la, small fry. La la, small fry. La la, small fry. La la, small fry. Learn and have fun, cool creatures to meet. It's virtual small fry school. Go ahead and grab a seat.
Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Small Fry School here at the Alaska Sealife Center. My name is Rebecca and I'm so happy you're here with us today. We will be hosting these live at 11 a.m. Alaska time every Tuesday right here on YouTube. And if you have any questions, please text the number in the description below. Now, I am not wearing my mask, but I do want to let you know that all my friends here are being safe. We are keeping a safe distance, and so we're all good here. And I want to acknowledge that I live and work on the traditional homelands of the Alutiiq-Sugpiaq people. Now, last week, we learned about the rocky shore. And we learned that there are very, very big rocks with really, really big, strong waves. And they create these tide pools where the animals live. And they call it a home. And you can go and explore those tide pools as well with your family. We made our own, or we counted fish with our favorite snack. Thank you so much for sharing. Today, we are learning about sea snails, really cool animals. And we're gonna learn about the body parts that help them survive in the rocky shore. So let's take a look at one of those.
Look at the big waves crashing on the rocks. They are very strong and can carry the snails away into the open ocean. Look at the snail. Are the waves carrying him away to the open ocean? No. So how does he do it? The snail has one big foot that is sticky and helps him stick to the rocks so that the waves won't carry him away. You can see the big foot here. Just like we use our feet to move, the snail also uses his foot to move. Look at him go.
Can you imagine having a foot like a snail? Wow. Let's pretend we're snails and use one foot. Ready? So you want to just use one foot and try to move like a snail. Oh my gosh. Are we moving like a snail? No, we're jumping. And we're doing that because we're not snails, and our feet allow us to do different things to move around. A snail needs a foot, a sticky foot like the one they have, so that they stick onto rocks, and that way the waves won't carry them away into the open ocean. Let's take a look at another really cool body part.
Do you know what the body part the arrows are pointing to is? It's a shell. Yeah. The snail's body is very soft, and the shell offers more protection to the snail so that he doesn't get crushed by waves or get eaten by animals. The snail lives in the ocean, so he needs seawater to survive. When the tide is low and he is not in a tide pool, he goes into his shell because there is seawater inside and he won't dry out. He has a little door that he closes really tight so that the water doesn't leave his shell. The snail has a shell to protect his soft body. What do we have to protect the inside of our body? We have skin. Our skin protects all of the organs and muscles inside our body. He grows his own shell, just like our skin grows.
Snail shells are very important to protect their soft body. But snails also have eyes to see, and they have gills, just like a fish, to breathe underwater. And they also have a mouth because they need to eat so that they grow big and strong and super healthy. And I want us to take a look at some snails that we have here at the Alaska Sea Life Center so that you get to see them. So let's go take a look at those. This right here is my friend, the hairy triton. And the hairy triton has these tiny little bristles growing on it. And it's called a hairy triton because these little bristles kind of look like hair. And it looks like it's just a little hairy. But that's his name. Can you see its foot?
Hey, Rebecca, what do they eat?
Oh, yes, what do they eat? So in the ocean, they eat sea urchins. They also eat sea stars and some worms. But here at the Alaska Sea Life Center, they get fed fish and krill and sometimes squid too.
Rebecca, do they have teeth?
Oh, do they have teeth? No, they don't. But we can't see it right now because it's using its foot to hold on really tight to this rock. They have a really cool tongue called a radula. And here you can see that radula, that's what it looks like, kind of like a zipper. But here's another picture that you can see. It kind of looks like it has those little spikes on its tongue, and it's like licking the food. It's really cool. And these hairy tritons, its foot, like I said, it's here on the rock underneath the shell. But we can see the shell, and it's really nice and strong so that it protects that soft body.
Rebecca, do they have babies?
They do have babies, not right now, but I want to show you a picture that I took over the summer. All those white little kernels, it kind of looks like white corn, those are all egg cases. And inside those egg cases are a lot of little eggs. And then when they hatch, some of them will go back into the ocean, some of them will stay here, but they're so small that they're plankton. And so we know that other animals like to eat plankton. And so they will be food for other animals, but some of them will live too. Cool. So I really like my hairy triton friends. There's more of them in here, although you can't see them. But here at the Alaska Sea Life Center, and also when you go explore the tide pools, you can use 1 or 2 fingers to gently touch the animals, just like that. We don't pick up. We want to leave them where they are, because that's their home. But we just touch gently. So friends, if you have any questions, we're going to move on to our activity. Feel free to text them in. But before we go, I want to say thank you to the hairy triton for letting me touch him or her. Okay, let's move on to our activity. So you will need Play-Doh, 3 different colors, your favorite colors. So I'm going to meet you in that other camera. Oh my gosh,
Shauna, my hand is very cold. That water was very cold, so it's just a little frozen. But we are going to be making our own snail out of Play-Doh. So take your 3 favorite colors. I chose blue, and I chose pink and green.
Okay, so I have blue, pink, and green. And first, we need to make that big foot. So I am going to use my pink color to make a foot for the snail.
Hey, Rebecca, while you're doing that, can you answer a couple more questions?
Yes, of course.
So Naomi would like to know, how do snails breathe?
Great question. As I said, they have gills. Do you remember the fish episode, Naomi? Fish have gills that help them breathe in the water. A snail also has gills inside the shell in his body. We can't see it, but they're in there in the shell on his body.
Rebecca, Ruthie would like to know if they have lips.
It kind of looked like they had lips in that picture, didn't it? I don't think they have lips like you and I do, but you could say that they have lips for a snail. I want to make a big foot because I want my snail to be able to use that big foot to stick.
Rebecca, do snails have arms? Are you going to give your snail some arms?
No, snails don't have arms. They have that big foot that they use to hold on to things and move around. And then they have that shell. But inside their body, inside that shell is the rest of their body. So like the heart, the gills, and then other body parts that they need to protect. But they do not have arms. Great question. Okay, so I have made my snail foot. Right there. What colors are you using? Oopsie. Okay, next I am going to make the shell. And I think I'm going to use my blue Play-Doh color. I might need to use the whole thing. So you take your Play-Doh, and between your hands, you're just going to roll it and roll it and roll it just like that. That's a little difficult. You can also put it on your table and just roll it this way, just like that. We just want to get it long and skinny. So I'm going to do that a little fast. But it's okay, you can take your time. There are other snails out there in the ocean. Some snails live in a different habitat called the sandy shore. So that's just like the beach where there's a lot of sand. And those are also really cool snails because they dig themselves to protect themselves from the waves. But then there's other smaller snails in the rocky shore.
Hey, Rebecca, do all snails have the hair like the hairy triton?
Oh, no, they don't all have the hair. The hairy triton is special in that way. But no, some other snails just have a smooth shell on them. Okay, once we have it long enough, you're going to roll it in, just like that. And we just want to make it into a circle for this shape. Kind of looks like a snail shell already. And then I'm going to put my snail shell on my foot, or my snail foot, not my foot, silly me. Right there. I think my snail's foot is a little too big, but that's okay. Extra grip. And next, I'm taking my last color so that I can give it eyes because I want my snail to see where he's going. Or she. I haven't decided yet.
Rebecca, we have another question.
Yeah.
How do they eat sea urchins without getting poked?
Oh my goodness, this is a great question. The hairy triton, and I don't have a picture of it, friends, but the hairy triton has a very long, maybe mouth if you want to call it, but it's called a proboscis, and it's very long, and at the end is that tongue. Yes, and because it's very long, they can put it in places where it could be a little hard to reach. And they also, in their glands, they have a really cool, they produce their own acid. This is a little advanced, friends, but they produce their own acid, and they can penetrate different shells without getting hurt because that's how they eat, and that's how they eat animals that maybe are a little bigger than them and have spines like sea urchins. I can send you a photo later too of what the proboscis looks like if you'd like. Okay, I think this eye is a little too big. And we just want to put it in there. Oopsies. Are you going to give your snail a name? I think I will give my snail a name. I think I'm going to call her Sammy the snail. And she's a female. And hopefully this summer, maybe, she will lay Play-Doh eggs.
Hey, Rebecca, you said your hands were really cold. Do
Yeah.
all snails like cold water?
No, some of them live in warmer waters. And I know, Shauna, you lived in Hawaii and Florida, and that's really warm water. So maybe you can tell us about some of the cool snails that you've seen there.
There are lots of colorful snails in the warm water, but most of them have smooth shells instead of like the hairy triton, but they're very pretty.
Yeah, I do like those colorful snails. I am actually going to make my snail's foot a little smaller because I want it to be a little small. Oh, Naomi and Elijah, I really like your snails. I also like the colors you used. Thanks for sharing those. Okay, this is my snail, friends. Sammy the snail. I'm really happy with her. Okay. So I have a really, really cool and important announcement for all our friends out there. The Small Fry team here at the Alaska Sea Life Center is starting a Facebook group for all our friends that are watching and more that maybe want to join. So keep a lookout for that, possibly tomorrow when it goes live. It's still not live yet. And in that group, we are going to be posting different activities, challenges over the summer, really, really cool things. So I just wanted to announce that to you, that will be coming and available for you. So keep a lookout for that. I also want to thank Alaska 529 for sponsoring this episode. And I want to thank my friends here who are helping us out today. And last but not least, I want us all to thank the snails and the hairy triton for letting us learn about him. Can you say thank you on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And also, next week we are going to be talking about crabs. If you have any questions about what you learned about today, feel free to text that number or email us at smallfry@alaskasealife.org. And I will leave you with today's story time. It's Are You a Snail? It's about snails that you might find in your garden. So I will see you next week. Bye.
Are You a Snail? By Judy Allen and Tudor Humphreys. Are you a snail? If you are, your life began in an egg like one of these. When you hatch, you look like this. This is your mother. You are much smaller than your mother. You are very, very small, but you will grow. You have 2 horns and 2 eyes on stalks. You can pull your eyes right down inside the stalks and into your head if you need to. You are slimy. You are very slimy. You have a shell with a beautiful pattern on it. You have no legs and only 1 foot, but it is a strong foot. The slime on your strong foot helps you slide along. Wherever you go, you leave a silvery, slimy trail. You like damp places. You like to be outside when it has rained. You have a big, rough tongue right inside of your mouth. Use it to rip pieces off of leaves and eat them. Watch out for thrushes. Thrushes are dangerous. They like to eat snails. They know how to break the shells off, and they don't mind the slime. Hide in the daytime. Go out at night when the thrushes are asleep. Look out for foxes. Foxes are dangerous. Hungry foxes eat snails, and they don't mind the slime either. Foxes go out at night, but you can't hide at night because you need to eat sometime. Just be careful. Do not go where humans go. You could get squashed. You move too slowly to get out of the way. Humans don't like you because you eat their plants. They might put poison or sharp gravel in the garden. It hurts to walk on gravel. Also, it sticks to your slime. And poison? Poison is poisonous. You may meet someone who looks like this. It is not a snail whose shell has fallen off. This is a slug. The winter cold makes you sleepy. Find a safe place. Your slime hardens into a door in your shell. The spring warmth wakes you. Dribble on the inside of your shell door. It melts away. Slime off and find food. However, if you look a little like this, or this, or this, or this, you are not a snail. You are a human child. You have no shell on your back. You have no horns, and your eyes are not on stalks. But you can do a lot of things that snails can't do. You are not afraid of thrushes or foxes. Most humans like you. Best of all, you are not in the least bit slimy. Did you know the trail of a snail is broken, but the trail of a slug is one long line of slime? There are more than 60,000 different kinds of snails. This is a garden snail. But there are other kinds that live in deserts or swamps, in ponds or rivers, or in the sea. The giant African snail can grow very large. The biggest one ever found was almost 16 inches long and weighed 2 pounds. Snails belong to a family of creatures called gastropods, which means stomach foot. So you could say a snail is a stomach on a foot. The end.